Okay, so I just scraped the last little bit. I got another 40 grams out. I don't know why it's not adding up to 200, but I'm not worried about it. The yeast will grow. Even if I only use 50 grams in this loaf of bread, it would still grow. It just might take a few extra hours. Um, what's important is that there is a seed of yeast in there, and that's plenty enough seed. While I was off camera, I also took the liberty of moving my rubber band from the old jar to the new jar to mark the level of where the current starter is living at. And I do this so that I can tell where it's at in my day so that I can see how well it's rising. I expect this will come more into a more useful tool during the summer months when it's really hot, because if it starts rising like crazy fast in the heat of the day, then I know that I probably need to give it some more flour or do some more feedings. Anyways, um, so this is my dough of just flour and water, and then I added salt to it, and then I added the starter to it. So all I'm going to do is just kind of squish it in my fingers until it looks mostly um, homogeneous. And again, I really can't stress this enough, but I am not a technical baker. I am the kind of baker that, like, I'm gonna throw it together and it's close enough, and you throw in some of this and some of that. And I'm not the type to say that your water has to be 72.3 degrees. Like, I think it's nonsense. I don't think it's necessary. Maybe in your climate it is necessary. I don't know, but it's not working for me. It's not the kind of baker I am, and it's not the kind of baker I want to be. So that's just how I feel about it, man. Also, I wanted to talk more about the idea that I'm using two different types of flour for this. I mentioned that the all-purpose flour I found didn't have as good of a flavor, and it didn't rise as nicely. And I want to stress that you absolutely can use just all-purpose flour. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I just feel like I managed to find some local flour that was grown and milled locally, and I think that it's got, one, I'm supporting local farmers and a local business, but two, I think it's got more of that robust local yeast, which hopefully thrives a little better in this climate. Whereas I feel like the all-purpose white flour that's super bleached in the store maybe doesn't have as much natural yeast that is going to be so happy in my house. So, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about there. But I do really like the flavor of the whole wheat flour. And a lot of places that you find guides for this online do recommend that you use at least some portion of all-purpose and some other type of flour. Rye is usually pretty popular, but I don't care for the taste of rye. Really, just experiment and see what you like. As you can see, this is a bit of a mess. It looks clumpy and shaggy and sticky and not at all like something that you would want to eat. But we're just going to let this sit for another 10 minutes or so, and we'll come back to it and I'll show you the next step.